What's good, y'all? It's your boy Mixtape Moth. If you are rocking with this content, please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. But today, I'm going to hit y'all with my thoughts on this new compilation from Statik Selektah entitled Round Trip. So, Statik Selektah, he's one of the most humble, consistent, and prolific producers in the game. He's the man you go to when you want more traditional styled jazzy production. Within the past couple years, Statik has put in work on projects for artists like Bun B, Terminology, Paul Wall, Coda the Friend, and Joey Bada. But this new compilation, Round Trip, is his first solo album in about 3 years, and it features a wide range of MCs from all over the map, containing 20 tracks lasting an hour in length. But with that being said, let me go ahead and just hit y'all with this track by track breakdown. The opener, Round Trip, is a heartfelt dedication to Plug 2, aka Dave from Plug 1. The instrumental kicks this project off on a more melancholy, mature note, and even Posdnuos' delivery is much more subdued and softened than regular, but it's a thoughtful, commemorative way to set this off. Track 2, Historic, is a real highlight that features two unsung lyrical greats. That's Ransom and AZ. Now, this collaboration was definitely the one that I had looked forward to the most going into this album. And this was built around a classy, jazzy boom bap beat that feels like it could have been dusted off from, let's say, 1998. AZ doesn't disappoint, as he has some stylish and elegant bars, no doubt, but I feel it was Ransom who really came through with that fire verse. Ransom states, "Don't treasure bling, that's usually the cause of drama. It's funny, I can spot a bum in a Beamer and a boss in a Honda. You know my style, I don't force the entendre, so if it's beef, gotta be Kobe. Snakes get ate when they cross in this Mamba." Crazy. Track 3, Different League, features Benny the Butcher and Terminology, and the production takes on more of a menacing tone. I like the Black Thought vocal scratches. Benny's performance was solid. He did come through with some urgency, but it was Terminology who gave us one of his stronger feature performances in recent memory. Track 4, Can't Stop with Stove God and Symba, has a raw but smooth instrumental, which did grow on me after repeated listens. The Fat Joe vocal sample on the hook was cool. So Stove God had some witty drug bars, no doubt, but it felt like he was not sticking to the theme of the song as much as Symba, who on the other hand painted a picture of overcoming the struggle, which for me at least seemed more in step with the theme. But I did like Stove God's following line. "They say he's a snitch, I say he got no discipline." And that's an interesting way to look at snitching, because, you know, if you lack discipline, then you're gonna just run your mouth to a lot of people. Following this is Unpredictable, and it is a woo banger featuring Deck, Ghost, Ray, and Meth. Now, this was released months back, but it still holds up as one of the stronger tracks. But let me know in the comment section who you felt had the best verse. Probably go with Meth, because his wordplay on this was unreal. Immediately after is Ain't Too Much To It with Bun B, Conway, and Ab-Soul, and it's more of a slow burn. So while I could appreciate the sample-based production, the energy level on everyone's verses was pretty low. I'd say Bun had the best performance out the three, but even he sounded a little lethargic. Yeah, I probably won't return to this one. Things do continue in this moody direction instrumentally for the following track, Life and Times with Joey Badass, but it is a highlight. Now, Statik and Joey continue to possess this chemistry. Here Joey is doing some deep introspection and jewel dropping. He describes his outlook best as somewhere between keeping it G and philosophical. I'm spiritual thugging. In this universe, I got a lot of pull. My demons mean mugging, but to me, it means nothing. It's a deep record with a rich, melancholy beat that feels like some old pro-era production. Afterwards is Dropping Bodies with Millies, and he's dumbing out over some boom bap, which was a nice change up from the more, contemporary somber track production he's been rocking over lately, which I haven't necessarily loved. And I thought his following line was pretty clever. "Outcasted from the industry, but this outfit cost me 3 stacks." Track 9 is It's Different with MOP and Cormega, and it's set to a grown man jazz rap beat that has a warm summertime flavor. We get some thoughtful OG talk from Lil Fame and Billy Dance, as well as some wise street parables and valuable lessons from the QU vet Cormega, and overall it ends up being one of the standouts. Track 10, Lionhearted with Elzhi and Bodie James, is a dope record that has bars upon bars. Here we have a darker and punchier instrumental and a stellar verse from Elzhi, who raps, "You don't want the smoke, like if Snoop lit a joint in the coupe with Dr. Dre bumping the Chronic a block away." I'd say Bodie managed to hold his own, but Elzhi probably stood out the most here. Track 11, The New Joe, is a Nems solo that I have few issues with. Nems is getting busy, being boastful, and a little disrespectful, of course, declaring himself as the new Joey Crack, the new Fat Joe. It's one raw verse over a head-nodding, murky production. After this is One for Ages featuring the God Fahim, and it's built around a triumphant yet gritty sample. And the God Fahim's performances was cool as he continues to show his hunger and focus on tracks. Up next is Right Here with Marco Plus and Coda the Friend. Now the two do their thing over some gorgeous piano-driven boom bap, and I gotta stress how captivating these keys are. Following this is Limbo with Russ, and he's giving us some reflective bars over a sparkling static beat. The Q-tip inhale scratching was a nice addition that brought some extra flavor to the record. Track 15 is The Code featuring Ruben Vincent, Rome Streetz, and Luca. Now, I'm not too familiar with Ruben Vincent and Luca, but they did have some decent hustling bars. And Rome Streetz had a solid verse as well over this plush sax heavy production. I wasn't blown away by the song, but I wasn't mad at it either. Right after is Got to Give by Red Veil, and it's backed by some uplifting soul chops. To keep it a buck, I don't know much about Red Veil, but it ended up being cool enough alternative rap track. Then there is Vanilla Sky with G-Eazy. Now, I can't say I listen to G-Eazy a lot, but I wasn't mad at this record. G-Eazy had some bars, and the Scarface, Brad Jordan vocal scratches at the end was a pleasant surprise. Statik, you're a genius for incorporating some of those face vocals. Track 18 is Factory with IDK, another artist who I'm not really up on, but I could appreciate the mellow and groovy backdrop. At the end of the day, it was a decent song, but I don't know how often I'd revisit. The second to last track is In the Pocket by Logic. So we get a Chipmunk soul beat from Statik that I thought was great, but I found Logic's bars to be a bit too cringy for me to love. Then the album wraps up with Full Circle, which is a heartfelt posse cut by the Show Off members Terminology, Rex, JFK, Easy Money, and Harley Hall. Now, for some reason, I didn't love this record as much as I probably should have, but I did appreciate the dreamy bells, and the verses were solid enough from this Boston crew. So overall, gonna give this project a rating of 3.5 to a strong 3.5 mics. I feel it's one of the more cohesive sounding compilations to drop in a minute, especially considering the number of tracks. And from what I recall about Statik's Balancing Act album, Round Trip does sound better, as I felt the production on the Balancing Act was a little too tame at times. Sure, Round Trip is a long album and it possibly could have benefited from a few less tracks, but it's still a dope compilation featuring both old school and new school artists. That being said, I just tended to prefer the first half of the album much more than the second. There are some artists on the back end of this thing whom either I didn't know a ton about or they just didn't interest me all that much. And I gotta admit, while they didn't give bad performances, their verses didn't keep me as engaged as I would have liked. Fortunately though, Statik's production was solid and consistent enough to make it play well enough from front to back. My favorite tracks include Round Trip, Historic, Different League, Can't Stop, Unpredictable, Life and Times, Dropping Bodies is Different, Lionhearted, Right Here, and Limbo. Let me know what you thought about this project in the comment section. It's your boy Mixtape Month. I'm signing out, but please be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. As always, it's peace and blessings. Statik Selektah, Round Trip 1.